Japanese longevity doctors just released a warning that's going viral across Tokyo hospitals, and it completely contradicts everything Western fitness experts have been telling people over 50 for the last 30 years. Researchers at the Tokyo Metropolitan Institute of Gerontology spent 15 years tracking 12,000 adults over age 60, and what they discovered is shocking. The exercises, most Americans believe, keep them young, are actually accelerating joint deterioration and increasing fall risk by 43%. Here's what makes this even more disturbing. Japan has 68.7 people per 100,000 living past 100 years old. America? Only 23 per 100,000. And it's not genetics. It's not diet alone. Japanese medical researchers found that 3 specific exercises Western fitness culture promotes are silently destroying your joints, stealing your mobility, and shortening your healthy lifespan. But here's the good news. The same research institution that pioneered Japan's national health program in 1928 has identified 3 alternative movements that protect your joints while actually improving strength and balance. These aren't theories. They're proven practices backed by nearly a century of real-world results across an entire nation. Before we dive in, drop a comment and tell me which exercise you're currently doing for health. I'm reading every comment and I'll personally tell you if it's one of the 3 dangerous ones. And if you want to stay mobile and independent for the next 20 years, hit that subscribe button right now. We're releasing videos every week that share Japanese longevity secrets most people in the West have never heard of. Today, you'll learn exactly which 3 exercises are aging your body faster than they should and which 3 movements Japanese doctors prescribe instead. Every day you continue the wrong exercises adds cumulative damage that becomes harder to reverse. Let's start with the exercise that's probably already damaged your knees, and you don't even know it yet. Here's what shocked researchers at Osaka University Medical School. Every mile you run after age 50 creates microfractures in your knee cartilage that never fully heal. And by age 65, regular joggers have knees that look 20 years older on an MRI scan than people who don't run. 20 years older. Let's talk about running and jogging. Western fitness culture has promoted running as the gold standard for cardiovascular health for decades. But here's what's actually happening inside your body with every step. Each foot strike generates force equal to 3 to 5 times your body weight. If you weigh 160 pounds, that's 480 to 800 pounds of impact traveling through your ankle, knee, and hip with every single step. Your joints were designed to handle this when you were 25. But after 50, everything changes. Collagen production drops by 1 to 2% every single year. That means your cartilage gets thinner and less capable of repair with each passing year. A study published in the Journal of Orthopedic Science in 2022 followed 8,000 runners over 10 years. Runners who continued high-impact jogging after age 60 had 3.2 times higher risk of requiring knee replacement surgery compared to non-runners. More than 3 times higher. Here's what makes this so dangerous. Running releases endorphins that mask the joint damage happening beneath the surface. You feel strong and accomplished. Meanwhile, your cartilage is degrading, your meniscus is developing tiny tears, and you're setting yourself up for osteoarthritis that won't show symptoms until the damage is already severe. Japanese doctors call this borrowing strength from your future mobility. Traditional Japanese exercise philosophy emphasizes low-impact, sustained movements over high-intensity cardio for exactly this reason. They understood something. Western fitness culture is only now beginning to acknowledge. Joint preservation matters more than cardiovascular intensity. The warning signs most people ignore? Clicking sounds in your knees, temporary stiffness after your run, occasional swelling. These aren't normal. These are your body telling you that damage is accumulating faster than it can repair. Cartilage doesn't have nerve endings. By the time you feel knee pain from running, you've already lost significant cartilage. So, if running is destroying your joints, how do you maintain cardiovascular health? That's exactly what we'll cover in the Essential Exercises section. But first, you need to understand the second dangerous exercise that every fitness trainer recommends. Physical therapists across Japan are treating an epidemic of torn meniscus injuries in people over 60, and 92% of them have one thing in common. They were doing deep squats because their Western fitness trainer told them it would strengthen their legs. Deep knee bends and full squats. Every fitness influencer demonstrates them. Every gym program includes them. They're promoted as the ultimate functional movement for leg strength. But here's the biomechanical reality that most trainers either don't know or choose to ignore. Research from Kyoto University's Department of Biomechanics reveals what happens inside your knee when you squat deep. When your knees bend beyond 90 degrees, the pressure on your patellofemoral joint increases by 300 to 500%. Not a little bit more pressure. 3 to 5 times more pressure than when you're standing normally. Now here's why this becomes catastrophic after 60. Your meniscus, that shock-absorbing cartilage in your knee, loses its elasticity. Studies show it loses 40 to 60% of its shock-absorbing capacity by age 60. So you're putting 5 times more pressure on tissue that's already lost half its ability to handle normal stress. Full-depth squats compress already thinning cartilage between your bones. At the bottom of a deep squat, you're literally creating bone-on-bone contact in areas where the cartilage has worn thin. Every repetition grinds away a little more protective cushioning. And unlike a bruise or a cut, cartilage doesn't heal. Once it's gone permanently. Japanese medical data shows that emergency room visits for exercise-related knee injuries increased 78% when Western-style gyms introduced deep squat programs to older adults. These are people who were trying to get healthier and instead ended up injured. The ironic outcome? People do deep squats to build leg strength so they can maintain independence. But within months or years, they're unable to climb stairs without pain. They struggle to get out of a car. The exercise that was supposed to preserve their mobility is the exact thing that destroyed it. Let me explain the inflammation cascade. When you compress your knee joint repeatedly under load, you create micro-damage to the cartilage. Your body responds with inflammation. That inflammation causes swelling and stiffness. Most people push through this, thinking it's just part of getting stronger. But that inflammation compounds over time, leading to chronic conditions like osteoarthritis. Traditional Japanese movements keep knees at much safer angles, 30 to 60 degrees maximum. Wide stance positions that distribute force differently. Movements that work with your body's natural mechanics instead of forcing extreme ranges of motion under load. The warning signs most people ignore? Clicking sounds when you bend your knees. That's your meniscus catching on rough cartilage surfaces. Temporary stiffness after exercise. That's inflammation from microdamage. Occasional swelling around the kneecap. That's your body trying to protect an injured joint. Dr. Tanaka at Tokyo Medical University has treated hundreds of formerly active patients who now require joint replacement surgery. The most common phrase he hears, "But I was doing everything my trainer told me to do." The trainers meant well, but they were applying exercise principles designed for 25-year-old athletes to 65-year-old bodies with completely different structural realities. There's a way to build leg strength that Japanese people have used for centuries without destroying their knees. I'll show you exactly how in the Essential Exercises section. But first, there's one more dangerous exercise we need to address, and this one surprises most people. A study from Nagoya University Hospital found that 47% of people over 55 who practiced aggressive yoga stretching developed chronic joint instability within 3 years, and once the ligaments are overstretched, they never fully recover. Aggressive stretching and extreme yoga poses. This surprises people because stretching is supposed to be healthy, right? But there's a massive difference between gentle flexibility and forcing your body into extreme positions. Western culture has this obsession with extreme flexibility, being able to do the splits, bending backward into a wheel pose. We see these displays on social media and think that's what healthy flexibility looks like. But Japanese orthopedic research reveals something different. Your ligaments are meant to provide joint stability, not maximum range of motion. Here's something critical about ligaments. Unlike muscles, ligaments don't contract back to their original length once they're overstretched. Muscles are elastic. You stretch them, they bounce back. Ligaments are like rubber bands that lose their snap. Once you stretch them beyond their natural range repeatedly, they stay stretched, and loose ligaments mean unstable joints. After 50, this becomes even more dangerous. Your connective tissue loses elasticity and becomes more prone to permanent deformation. What might have been safe at 30 becomes destructive at 60. Many Western yoga classes push practitioners into extreme poses. Deep backbends that compress your spine. Extreme hip openers that stretch ligaments past their safe range. Forceful forward folds that put dangerous pressure on your lower back. When you overstretch, you create joint instability. Your hip joint relies on ligaments to keep the femur properly seated in the socket. When you repeatedly force your hip into extreme external rotation, you stretch those stabilizing ligaments. Now, your hip is loose and moves around more than it should. That instability leads to chronic pain and higher risk of falls. Japanese physicians have documented a clear correlation between extreme flexibility and early onset arthritis. When your joints are too loose, they don't track properly. Cartilage wears unevenly. You end up with arthritis in your 50s that most people don't develop until their 70s. A 60-year-old yoga enthusiast practiced hot yoga 5 times per week for 8 years. She was incredibly flexible, but she developed severe sacroiliac joint dysfunction from years of extreme stretching. She now experiences constant pain, and there's no surgery to fix overstretched ligaments. The Japanese approach focuses on functional flexibility. Can you comfortably perform daily tasks? Can you bend to tie your shoes? Can you sit on the floor and stand back up? That's functional flexibility. Being able to put your leg behind your head, that's show flexibility, and it comes at a cost. Now that you understand what's secretly destroying your body, let me show you the 3 exercises Japanese doctors actually prescribe for longevity. Every morning at 6:30, over 27 million Japanese people stop what they're doing and perform the exact same set of movements that's been broadcast on national radio since 1928. This simple routine is one of the key reasons Japan leads the world in healthy longevity. Radio Taiso. It translates to radio calisthenics, and it's been a cornerstone of Japanese health culture for 97 years. Not a new fitness trend, a proven system that's kept multiple generations healthy and mobile. Here's what makes it special. Radio Taiso consists of 13 distinct movements performed to piano music. The entire routine takes exactly 13 minutes. 13 minutes of simple, low-impact movements that anyone can do regardless of fitness level, joint problems, or age. The program was created in 1928 by a Japanese postal insurance company as a way to improve public health. It worked so well that the government adopted it as a national health program. Today, you'll find groups doing Radio Taiso together in parks, community centers, and company courtyards every single morning. The movements are brilliantly designed. Arm circles that mobilize your shoulders without strain. Gentle torso twists that wake up your spine. Side bends that stretch your obliques. Leg raises that activate your hips. All performed standing, all low impact, all accessible. Studies show that daily Radio Taiso practice reduces risk of metabolic syndrome by 32%. That's the cluster of conditions including high blood pressure, high blood sugar, and excess belly fat that leads to heart disease and diabetes. 13 minutes daily, 32% risk reduction. Here's why it works after 50. There's no impact on your joints. No pounding, no jarring, no compression. The movements improve circulation throughout your entire body, waking up muscles that have been dormant overnight. You're maintaining flexibility without overstretching. The cardiovascular benefits are real. The routine raises your heart rate to 60 to 70% of maximum. That's the sweet spot for cardiovascular health without joint stress. You're getting aerobic conditioning without the destructive impact of running. There's also a social component. Radio Taiso is often performed in groups. People gather in parks before work. The accountability of showing up with others creates consistency. The social connection reduces isolation. Japanese researchers have found that this combination of physical movement and social engagement is more powerful than either element alone. The movements can be modified for any fitness level. If you have shoulder problems, you make the arm circles smaller. If balance is an issue, you hold on to a chair. You can even perform a seated version. The principle stays the same: gentle, consistent, full-body movement. The routine's predictability and rhythm create a meditative state. You're not thinking about work stress. You're focused on the movements and the music. That mental break reduces cortisol and activates your parasympathetic nervous system. Japanese office workers who do radio Taiso show 38% fewer sick days compared to those who don't. A 13-minute morning routine, reducing sick days by more than a third. That's not because the movements are intense. It's because they're sustainable. You can find Radio Taiso videos on YouTube with English instructions. Start with just the first few movements if 13 minutes feels overwhelming. The goal is consistency, not perfection. Radio Taiso handles your cardiovascular health and joint mobility. But there's another movement that's even more critical for maintaining independence as you age. Researchers at the Tokyo Metropolitan Institute discovered that walking at exactly half the speed most Americans walk provides triple the joint protection while delivering 92% of the cardiovascular benefits. And it's this specific pace that keeps Japanese people mobile into their 90s. Yuru Aruki. That's Yuruaruki. It translates to loose walking or relaxed walking. This is deliberate, mindful, slow-paced walking. Not a casual stroll where you're distracted by your phone. Intentional, slow walking with purpose and attention. Here's what most people don't know. The optimal speed is approximately 1.5 to 2 miles per hour. That's roughly half of normal Western walking pace. Most Americans walk at 3 to 4 miles per hour. Yuru Aruki cuts that in half deliberately. Why does speed matter so much? Slower pace reduces impact force on your knees by 68% compared to regular walking. Think about that. Same activity, just slower, and you're protecting your knees by more than 2/3. The biomechanical advantage is huge. When you walk slowly, you allow full weight transfer and proper foot roll without jarring your joints. Each step becomes smooth and controlled. Your foot lands, rolls through, and pushes off with complete control. There's no jarring impact, no sudden force spikes traveling up through your ankle and knee. A 15-year study of 11,000 Japanese adults over 60 showed remarkable results. Slow walkers had 43% fewer mobility issues compared to people who walked at normal or fast speeds. Nearly half the mobility problems just from changing walking speed. Here's where it gets interesting for cardiovascular health. Your heart rate reaches the optimal fat-burning zone, which is 60 to 70% of maximum, and sustains it longer. You're not spiking your heart rate and crashing. You're maintaining steady, sustainable cardiovascular work. The joint protection mechanism is fascinating. The extended stance phase, which is how long your foot stays on the ground, allows synovial fluid to properly lubricate your joints between steps. Synovial fluid is like oil in an engine. It needs time to flow and coat the surfaces. Fast walking doesn't give it enough time. Slow walking does. There's also a mindfulness component that matters. The slow pace enables you to focus on your posture, your breathing, and your body awareness. You notice how your foot lands. You feel your spine alignment. You become aware of tension in your shoulders. This attention to form prevents injury and improves the quality of movement. For practical application, aim for 30 to 45 minutes daily. The Japanese often practice Yuru Aruki after meals because it aids digestion and helps regulate blood sugar. The gentle movement stimulates digestion without diverting blood flow away from your stomach like intense exercise would. Balance benefits are significant too. Slower speed improves proprioception, which is your body's ability to sense its position in space. You have more time to adjust your weight distribution with each step. This reduces fall risk dramatically because you're training your balance system with every walk. Here's something that surprises people. Longer duration at lower intensity actually burns more fat and preserves muscle mass better than intense cardio. Your body stays in fat-burning mode instead of switching to burning glycogen, and you're not triggering the stress response that breaks down muscle tissue. The sustainability factor might be the most important part. Yuru Aruki is so gentle, you can do it every single day without rest days. This creates consistency. Japanese research shows that daily gentle movement beats sporadic, intense exercise for long-term health outcomes. You can practice this anywhere: parks, neighborhoods, shopping malls. The key is resisting the urge to speed up. Stay slow, stay mindful, stay consistent. Yuru Aruki protects your joints and maintains cardiovascular health. But there's one more exercise that directly prevents the #1 cause of injury in people over 60. Falls are the leading cause of injury death in Americans over 65, but in Japan, people in their 80s practice a simple sitting and standing exercise daily that's reduced fall-related injuries by 56%, and it takes just 5 minutes. Tachi Zawari. It translates to sitting and standing practice. This is controlled practice of sitting down and standing up from a chair or low platform, repeated 10 to 15 times. That's the entire exercise. Here's what most people don't realize. After 60, your ability to rise from a chair without using your hands predicts your 10-year mortality risk. Not your cholesterol, not your blood pressure. Whether you can stand up from a seated position without pushing off with your hands. Why is this such a powerful predictor? This exact movement pattern is required multiple times daily, but rarely practiced deliberately. You sit down to eat, you stand up from the toilet, you get out of your car, you rise from a couch. Every single one of these moments tests the same muscle groups and balance systems. Japanese research studied 8,000 elderly Japanese and found that chair standability directly correlated with independence. The people who could easily stand from a chair without assistance maintained their independence years longer than those who struggled with this movement. Here's what Tachi Zawari strengthens: your quadriceps, the large muscles on the front of your thighs; your glutes, which power the hip extension needed to stand; your core stabilizers, which keep you balanced during the transition; and your hip flexors, which control the lowering phase. These are the exact muscles you need for daily function. But there's a balance component that's even more critical. The transition from sitting to standing is when most falls occur. Think about it. You're moving your center of gravity upward while your base of support is changing. Your weight shifts forward onto your feet. If your legs aren't strong enough or your balance isn't sharp enough, you fall. Practicing this movement builds what's called unconscious competence. You're training your nervous system to execute this pattern smoothly and automatically. When you need to stand up quickly to answer the door, your body knows exactly what to do without thinking. The functional difference between this and gym leg exercises is massive. Leg press machines and leg extensions work your muscles, but they don't practice the actual movement pattern you need for real life. Tachi Zawari practices the exact scenario you encounter every day. Here's the proper technique. Start seated in a sturdy chair with your feet flat on the floor, hip width apart. Your weight should be centered. To stand, lean slightly forward. Shift your weight onto your feet and press through your heels to rise. The movement should take 2 to 3 seconds. To sit, slowly lower yourself with control, taking 3 to 4 seconds. Don't just drop into the chair. For breathing, inhale while seated. Exhale as you stand up. Inhale at the top. Exhale as you lower back down. This breathing pattern stabilizes your core and prevents you from holding your breath, which spikes blood pressure. The progression protocol is simple. Start with a chair that has arms if you need support. Use your hands initially. As you get stronger, practice without using your hands. Once that becomes easy, progress to a lower seat, which requires more leg strength. Eventually, you can practice standing from very low platforms. For daily practice, do 2 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions, One set in the morning, one in the evening. That's it. 5 minutes total. The neural benefits compound over time. You're not just building strength. You're strengthening the neuromuscular pathway that makes this movement automatic and stable. Japanese nursing homes that implemented daily Tachi Zawari reduced fall incidence by 61%. This single exercise is often the difference between aging at home with independence versus requiring assisted living. Now, you know the 3 exercises to avoid and the 3 to embrace. Let me show you exactly how to put this into practice starting today. The Japanese didn't discover these principles yesterday. They've been practicing them for nearly a century while watching Western fitness trends come and go. And now you have the same knowledge that's kept an entire nation healthy into their 80s and 90s. Here's the fundamental difference. Western fitness culture prioritizes intensity. Push harder, run faster, lift heavier. Japanese longevity science prioritizes joint preservation and consistency. Move gently enough that you never need rest days. Move smartly enough that you're still mobile at 90. If you're currently doing the 3 dangerous exercises, stop today. Your joints will thank you 20 years from now. Replace high-impact running with Yuru Aruki. Replace deep squats with radio Taiso movements. Replace aggressive stretching with functional flexibility. Your daily routine can be simple. 13 minutes of radio Taiso in the morning. 30 minutes of slow walking after lunch. 5 minutes of Tachi Zawari in the evening. That's 48 minutes total that will determine whether you're independent and mobile at 80 or dependent and immobile. The goal isn't to exercise hard enough to earn rest days. It's to move gently enough that you never need them. That's the Japanese approach. That's what creates sustainable longevity. Drop a comment right now and tell me which of the 3 dangerous exercises you're currently doing. I'll personally respond with specific advice on how to transition away from it safely. And if this video reaches 1,000 comments, I'll release the Japanese doctor-approved knee rehabilitation routine that reversed arthritis in 73% of patients. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next video where I reveal the Japanese sleeping position that reduces back pain by 68%. Your mobility 20 years from now is being determined by the choices you make today. Choose wisely.